Oh, Radio Raheem, brother. We almost all right. Fight just wrapped up. Kristian pregnant Pringles. Kristian Prenga almost knocks out Anthony Joshua in round one, drops him twice. Joshua recovers to then knock Kristian Prenga out in the second round. His corner actually jumps into the ring before the count's even done. Referee waves the fight off, and he bounces back from those 2 first-round knockdowns to win the fight. Really quick, now that we've seen Fury and Joshua this weekend, who do you think wins that fight?
I mean, it's a difficult...
It doesn't matter who you think wins the fight, because the fight doesn't fucking matter, actually, in real true relevancy to the heavyweight division. It was a cash grab then, and it is more clearly a cash grab now. Raheem, I was laughing here at the Majestic Hotel here in Anaheim, California, laughing my balls off when Joshua got dropped. Not to revel at another man's dismay, like the former 2-time unified heavyweight champion Anthony Joshua, but because all the hoopla and bullshit about will it be in the United Kingdom, will it be in the United States, is Dana White going to get to promote it, and Eddie Hearn is going to be usurped, and and it all almost went up in smoke, and I got a kick out of it for that, just like I got a kick out of Usyk going life or death with a kickboxer. But alas, the thrill of victory is snatched into the jaws of defeat for the underdogs, and we will go with the well past its expiration date, Joshua Fury, Fury Joshua. And I had a little take after Wilder Chisora that maybe Anthony Joshua in this Las Vegas act arc of their careers, and I called it the Las Vegas act of their career because once upon a time that's where you went when you were washed up to go perform in Vegas, and that's where Wilder, Joshua, and Fury are. And I said maybe Joshua's the cleanup hitter. You know, he was the cleanup hitter to get the MMA guy Ngannou out of there. He got Jake Paul's bullshit up out of there. Maybe he's the one who gets to close the book on the former era of the big 3 heavyweights. But now you could burn that take up in smoke because it doesn't matter. I don't know who's going to win. I don't really care. Yes, I'll watch it. But, man, we were this close to being spared of all that bullshit. Anyways, sorry, people. But go ahead, Raheem. What'd you think?
Sean, I think you're a little too excited about the demise of these 2 British fighters or the possibility of the fight not happening. I understand you as an American maybe not appreciating what both Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua mean to this country. We in America have had an embarrassment of riches, especially in the heavyweight division. I know what it is like for you to have grown up a 90s baby and gotten just on the other side of the golden era of heavyweight boxing in America, and then also still have Tyson, still have that run as a kid to watch, still have all these welterweights and middleweights. And you are looking at a class of talent and thinking that these British guys just aren't meeting the mark. But the truth is that both these men really did carry British boxing on their backs and into the epicenter of the sport. Like, what you can't deny is that boxing right now, ground zero is London. That's where it's happening. That's where the money is coming from. That's why Anthony Joshua is like Elvis over here, and Tyson Fury was able to travel to America and become what he's become because British boxing never has been as big as when these 2 guys have been at the helm. So for them to finally face off, it's still, even after that performance from Fury and after this, almost disaster, calamity in that first round from Joshua, it still matters here because of who they have been to the sport. These are, and I understand the Lennox Lewis lineage, but Lennox Lewis is Jamaican. I hate to I can't tell these people that, but that's the truth. Lennox Lewis is Jamaican, okay? And he fought for the Canada Olympic team. But He's their last undisputed fighter. But he didn't capture them like Joshua and Fury together. This is the fight that they need. When I watched Tyson Fury this morning, really, it made me not want to see this fight. When I watched the first round of Joshua, it made me not want to see this fight. Because you're right. If there was ever a washed war, yeah, this one fits the mark. And the reason I don't want to see the fight is not because it won't be good. It's because I don't want to see the two legacies of these guys in what I expect to see when they fight. British boxing should leave this one alone. Let it go into the annals of history and let them debate who of these two guys would have won for that rest of time. Fury looked awful this weekend. Joshua looked absolutely awful. And the commentary, the reaction post-fight, the glazing, what do they call it? They are lying. What are you guys talking about? They're like, oh, this tremendous comeback. And there's no way what we saw we should have seen from a top heavyweight. Now, what I will buy into, we know the tragedy that he faced. We know the mental fortitude and strength that would have had to have overcome that. Fortunately, I don't know personally in the sense that type of tragedy, thank God, hasn't happened to me in that way. But this was the thing. This was the fight to get over it. Okay, he came back in the second round after almost getting sparked out, and you got the knockout. Why? This Prenga guy decided to stop fighting after the first round. I'll leave it for the fans to question. But I don't ever need to see Joshua in the ring again. This is when he sat back in that corner after the first round and he had his friends' names in the shot at his feet on the ring mat, and he came back out and that's the fight for them. Dedicate this fight to them. Salute to your career. Let it end this way, man, because what's coming next is no good. I don't want it to end the way it's about to end for Joshua. And I don't need to see Fury in the ring again either. The way Fury has rug pulled Joshua his whole career, has walked him down the aisle and never said I do. The way he's clowned Joshua and retired 5 times, Joshua should retire, rug pull Fury, and let it be that. Let that be his final fuck you to Tyson Fury. Because this fight, well, you don't want to see it for the wrong reasons. I don't want to see it for the right reasons. I should have kind of played it.
No, it has nothing to do with some British sentiment or nothing. It's actually, Paulie Malignaggi had a great interview while he's covering Spence Zoo, and he talked about how boxing's becoming this 2-tiered system, and he was touching on a lot of things I was talking about as to why I wanted to see Canelo and Benavidez and Boots and Crawford, and that's the guys who are putting in the real work, the young champions. Boxing used to have this turning wheel where eventually the big names who were aging got fed to the young guys so that they could get over and begin and keep the wheels turning in boxing. Once upon a time, when Hector Camacho and Sugar Ray Leonard fought, okay, there were 2 names, 2 first ballot Hall of Famers. Everyone would pan the fight, and nobody would really care. It wouldn't have all this hoopla. And then the winner, you get your ass kicked by Oscar De La Hoya, which was Hector Camacho. Like Larry Holmes, he comes back, he gets fed to Mike Tyson. That's what was good for the sport. But Paulie touched on more and more now, in increasingly nonsensical ways, you're just matching 2 popular names, and they're staying in this bracket of fight. Even Ryan Garcia, Conor Benn. Conor Benn shouldn't get a title shot at 147 when he hasn't fought there in 3 or 4 years. Ryan Garcia shouldn't have got one coming off a loss to Rolly. But they're two popular names, and you mix and match them, and that's that. But anyways, that's a separate point. And also I wanted to see it go up in smoke because Dana with his flexing on Eddie Hearn. Oh, I'm gonna get it. And then Turkey taking it to the United States when everybody wants it in the United Kingdom, and it's gonna be on Netflix when Netflix could spend money on way more worthwhile fights that I know wouldn't garner the viewership because, to Paulie and mine's point, they're not the two names in that bracket. So to see all that just kind of go up in smoke for a fight that is so past its real relevancy is entertaining to me. And
but Sean,
just like Usyk, it's not an anti-Usyk thing, but Usyk tonight he was like Moses Itama. Oh, he's the next heavyweight champion, and it's like, aren't you the heavyweight champion? And I can't even get on his case that bad because it's not like Itama is banging down the door, being Clubber Lang to his Sylvester Stallone, but it's like, yeah, I'm just gonna fight the kickboxer and Kabiel Dubois. I got Kabiel, and it's like, you're the heavyweight champion. Aren't you supposed to be fighting these guys? And it's like, no, I'm a popular name, and that's why I'm rumored to fight a shot Deontay Wilder right after going life or death with a kickboxer. It's the bullshit of boxing, and for both reasons, Usyk in his last fight, Joshua tonight, I'm like, we were almost this close for that to get what it deserves. It's not an anti-British thing or anything like that. It's not the Brits' fault that America has shit the bed in the heavyweight division the last 2+ decades. It's not their fault.
They've been fed to the younger fighters. They've been fed to the class in the division. They've both been beaten twice by Usyk. Anthony Joshua's been knocked out, but he was the class in the division. He was the best in the heavyweight division, and Usyk ate them up. Both of them twice. And Anthony Joshua got knocked out by Dubois in his last real fight. So that's done. They did that part. What I am suggesting is that the relevance of this fight is not gone. It's the reason I'm needling you a little bit about the wrong reasons is because when you're saying that it's not relevant, you're saying that because you're an American. You're saying that because these guys are not displaying the kind of skill and resilience of a young fighter. It's not interesting to you because really, even at their best, they wouldn't have beaten the best of our American heavyweights in the golden age. So to see them at this long end of their career fight a washed war for you is worth seeing blow up, much more entertaining than watching the fight actually happen. But for these United Kingdom fans, the scale is being pitched at. That's why it has to be in the UK because it's valid here. What I'm telling you is this is not even their Pacquiao Mayweather. This is their Hagler Hearns. I mean, they're not their Hagler Hearns. They're Leonard Hagler. Yes, it's too late. It's their Leonard Hagler though, because it's one of those fights that should have happened. When it does happen, it won't be even that good. But it's something that will never not be relevant. No matter when Leonard and Hagler fought, it was always going to be relevant. These are the only two British American heavyweights that brought the world's attention to British heavyweight boxing the way they did. They moved the epicenter of boxing from America to London. That is something that Americans will never understand, just like not really appreciating what Ben Eubank was, because the level of skill isn't there. The reason Ben is a big name and can get this Ryan Garcia fight and all the things about who's mandatory and all that, we agree 100% on that. That's a different issue. But in the same way that Conor Benn is outsized in his earning potential and his achievements and his skill level because of who his father is and him fighting Eubank twice, this fight has more substance than Conor Benn because both of these guys did do something. Joshua is still two-time unified champion. Tyson Fury is still two-time champion. He still dethroned the incredibly boring Klitschko and then reclaimed the title from Wilder. These guys are British heavyweight royalty. They'll always be the guys who moved the center of boxing to London. So if they ever fight, it's always going to matter here. And the fact that they would even think about having it in America, because of the sentiment that you have, I think is very popular there. And people here are like, oh, this fight's past its prime, but everybody in the country is going to stop and watch it, is the reason it can only be here. But it is relevant. And it's going to be a terrible end. Be careful what you wish for, UK fans, because what happens when these two guys finally face each other, as what we saw this weekend, is going to be a sad way for both of them to go out. I'd rather them both go out without us ever knowing what would have happened. That's actually better.
I'll do you one better. They're not just British heavyweight royalty. They're just heavyweight royalty. I think they're both Hall of Fame heavyweights. You know what I mean? Really, I think Joshua is one of the true knockout artists in heavyweight history, and I think Fury is one of the great heavyweights in heavyweight history. And I think they both will deservedly get into the Hall in Canastota one day. So they're heavyweight royalty. Period. I won't even put the British right before it, but I would like to see it just go to Britain and it just be a show for that. It's more the scale it was being pitched at. And Leonard Hagler was still for the undisputed middleweight title. And Leonard would go on to still win a super middleweight title. And Hagler had just knocked out John the Beast Mugabe. I would call this fight more like Hopkins versus Roy Jones 2, except Hopkins and Roy Jones are better than Fury and Joshua. And that fight was there. And yeah, Hopkins, Jones too. But the problem is Hopkins went on to win the light heavyweight title like 5 times after that. Again, he won like 3 or 4 light heavyweight titles. He became lineal like 3 or 4 years later against John Pascal. But
it's one of those fights that if it never happens, it's one of those fights that will never not be relevant in this country, in Europe. You know what I'm saying? That's all I'm saying. And that relevance will never really translate to Americans. You'll never really get it. You know what I mean? Like, you would have had to live here or spend a lot of time here. Even as much as you know about boxing, as close as you follow it, the vibes about these guys and seeing when they were both at their prime here, it's like seeing Elvis in America in the 70s. Like, it's like, there was nothing bigger than Anthony Joshua when he was undefeated and peaking. And he had the foil in the Gypsy King and Tyson Fury. Like those two examples of what British people are like, and the two representing 2 different types of communities here, and both being world champions. These people, man, when Joshua got knocked down, by the way, I'm at the Hippodrome at Patty's Sportsbook, and the place is packed. For this fight, the place was packed. And when he got knocked down, people fucking screamed. They were out of their chairs. They were on that verge of tears. I'm not kidding. On the verge of tears by the end of the first round. And when he won in the second round, you would have thought that it was Tom Brady throwing the winning touchdown pass at the Super Bowl. That's how emotionally invested they are in this fight. That's not happening anywhere but here. No place, including Saudi. No place else but here. We haven't even actually talked about the fight itself, but
no, okay, yeah, well, yeah, so yeah, put it in England, which we've been saying for months. We said that a long time ago. Everybody was late with their outrage of it going to America when you said after UFC 250, bro, it's going there. And then Turkey a few weeks later did the thing in England trying to pretend he'll have it there when they have a curfew and blah, 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 blah. Yes, put it in England. I'll compare it lastly to Camacho Leonard. It's like Camacho Leonard, but with heavyweights on a much bigger scale in the United Kingdom. For the fight itself, it is odd how Prenga didn't empty the clip in the first round and then kept his hands in his pocket for the second round. People will raise an eyebrow on that, and I understand. However, I think very well what he may have been doing is not trying to get caught in between and knowing that anytime he lands something on Joshua is going to be on Queer Street or he's going to go down. Just try not to get bombed out of there. Try not to get caught in between shots and eventually land again, and the first round will replay itself. In retrospect, hindsight being 2020, that was not smart. In retrospect, and I'm sure plenty of people thought it as it was happening, he should have just taken his shot, let it rip, and go for the knockout, heading for the rest of round one into round two. But I just want to say, I understand why he may have made that miscalculation, trying not to get caught in between punches, be a little patient, land again, and Joshua will go down again, and that's how you win the fight. Don't risk getting caught in between. And also, Prenga's only loss coming into this was to a 2-6 Italian 5'11 heavyweight who has 0 knockouts, right? But he did have 20 knockouts and 20 wins, and he can punch, and anything can happen in the heavyweight division, and this was a trademark of that. It's one punch at that size with a guy who actually does have some power, as it turns out. Anything can happen. And I do give Joshua credit for, once again, he's done it multiple times in his career, getting off the canvas and stopping him. So credit to him for that, especially in the aftermath of what happened to his friends in Nigeria. But yeah, technically jumping into the ring early is grounds for a DQ. And people will raise an eyebrow at why Prenga, maybe he got the Marcellus Wallace call, and in the second round you go down. That's what people will think, allegedly. That's what they will think. But I understand the technical side of why he may not have been as aggressive to follow up his 2 knockdown advantage in the second round.
Joshua's punch resistance is gone.
Yes.
Joshua was knocked down by very average punches, soft touches almost. Like the uppercut. Now, granted, an uppercut's a hard punch to resist when you're lined up for it. And Prenga was holding the back of his head, hit him there, popped him
and
there.
He didn't see it.
Exactly. So I understand that. However, the way he was battered around in that first round, hip toss, slam to the ground, that is evidence that it's over. Like, it's over, man. And all the tragedy he came through to get into that ring, between rounds, his friends' names right there on the canvas, me thinking that as soon as that second bell rings, Prenga's going to run across the ring and let everything go. Because to me, I hear you, but I don't understand it. Like, Prenga's all of a sudden going to start trying to outbox him and wait and try to get a shot. No, what you just saw in the first round says nothing to anybody at any level of training in any corner. Says go out there and be all over this guy, all over him. If you get knocked out doing that, okay, fine. But to all of a sudden put your hands in your pockets and wait for a good shot? No, you don't need a good shot. You just need a shot. Hit him with anything, everything, everywhere, at any point. That's what you go out there and do. And not only did he not do that, he went out there and did nothing. He went out there and, I'm wondering if I want to hear the corners. I want to hear who got whispered in his ear. I want to hear, if they're speaking a different language, I want to hear Albania. I want to know if somebody passed him a note. I want to look into the rafters and see if somebody put something projected onto the ceiling. I want to understand what happened. This doesn't make any sense. And then at no point after the first round did Prenga try to box in any way. Like, he just stopped fighting. Now, based on what he did in the first round, I can't say, the fix is in, because at any point in the first round, Joshua could have not gotten up. Joshua could have got stopped. In fact, that second count is what saved Joshua, I think, in the first round. If he doesn't get counted right there, if the referee lets them keep fighting and get knocked down again, like, he stopped because of the gloves touch, and that's a legitimate reason to stop and count. But if that doesn't happen and the fight keeps going, Joshua quite likely gets knocked out in the first round. So that count saved him. I can't say that the fix is in the first round, but something happened between the first and the second round that makes no sense. And then the commentary team, I was floored by the commentary team. Like, what? If If that were the Dubois fight and he had come back in the Dubois fight instead of rolling the dice, but actually had a game plan and knocked out Dubois, the reaction from the comms team would have been appropriate for that situation, not this one. Those guys were promoters tonight. Those guys had a script. No matter what happens, like I was like, what fight are they watching the Dubois? Like, what's going on? What is going on? None of that made any sense. None of that made. I mean, WWE does it better, guys. if Dana White and TKO want to flex, they should come out and be like, we pretend better. I want an investigation. Like, something's wrong. That aside, let's talk about the second round. Okay, well, Prenga's not fighting. So Joshua being able to knock him out in the way that he ultimately did, great. Okay, great. I mean, how could you not at that point? But then the post-fight interview from Joshua, and then when he grabbed out, and I really like this guy. I respect this guy. I want the best for this man. I am not saying this disrespectfully. I am saying this objectively. This reminds me of after the second Usyk fight. Joshua's concussed. His eggs are scrambled after the fight. That post-fight interview is weird. Like, he should go to the hospital and make sure that he's not fully concussed. He should stay up all night. He should make sure that he's well. That Anthony Joshua we saw in the post-fight interview was goofy. He was like concussing goofy. We gotta be honest about that. We've seen that before. This to me indicates that, listen, man, this is the way to end it. That is a great tribute to your friends. That was a great comeback for what it was. That's a great moment to end on. Dedicate that fight to them. Do not go in there in the end of this year and let Tyson Fury fuck you up. Don't let Tyson Fury get that on you. Retire like he's done to you many times. You got all the money you need. Let these British fans argue about this until the end of time. Sayonara to your friends. Farewell, everybody. Go get your own reality show. This guy, and by the way, the chicks in here, they love him. Like, he could do anything now. He really could do movies. He could do a TV show. He could do whatever he wants. Anthony Joshua is a massive, massive star and a guy with a charismatic guy with charm and all the stuff. Do something else other than let Fury get the highlight to finish you.
His shin did just hold up to 6 rounds of Jake Paul right hands, though, in the fight previous. Are you sure his punch resistance is gone?
The fact that his chin had to hold up, that Jake Paul got clean punches in, that Jake Paul landed multiple clean right hands, was the indication that you needed. Like, yeah, if that is even possible. Even the Fury we saw this weekend, which was garbage. Another situation where we're not being honest about what we saw. Yes, his opponent was a punching bag, but all the more reason to wonder what the hell Fury was doing in there. I mean, 7 rounds? I don't want to see Joshua end his career unconscious at the feet of Tyson Fury. I think because of what Tyson has done to Joshua in regards to this fight, rug pulling him, as we said.
But Fury can't punch anymore, interestingly enough.
He doesn't have to, clearly.
Right.
Yeah. That's what he doesn't have to. I can't.
What's the opposite of the immovable force against the unstoppable? What is it? The unstoppable force against the immovable object. What's the antithesis to that with Tyson Fury's punching power right now and Anthony Joshua's punching?
I mean,
find out on Netflix.
The soft poke to the thin balloon.
Yeah. That's good.